Wale, after 4 years, Governor Ademola has exited as the governor of Osun State, and a new governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke, has just been sworn in as the executive governor of Osun State. 4 years, Ademola.
4 years. No matter what you have against Ademola, history is always the best judge. History is always the perfect judge because some of us respond a lot to emotions. And one thing I can say is that he was, in my view, the most frugal governor of his generation. When it comes to efficiency in public expenditure, I have not seen any governor like Ademola. In spite of the very, very dire financial state of that state, when he came into office, Ademola left 14 billion in cash.
14 billion naira.
Yes, for this incoming administration.
As broke as that state is.
Yes, as broke, as heavily indebted as that state is. Ademola, in spite of what he inherited, paid 97 billion out of the debt of the state. Because he knew that if he didn't try his best to clear the indebtedness that he inherited, it will limit the capacity of the state to achieve growth and development. So he was focused on doing that. And he paid 97 billion back. These were not debts that he brought on the state, debt that he inherited. You know? So for someone to not be paying half salary,
modulated salary.
Yes, modulator or whatever funny name you call it, for someone not to be doing that and still able to pay back 97 billion, servicing the debt, and
it's on record, he didn't borrow a dime.
He didn't borrow during his time. Because how will you borrow now? What you have inherited is, you inherited...
But some people will still borrow more.
Record level of borrowing.
Some people will still borrow more.
Yes, I know. I know some states, some governors are like that. They would rather not want to be accused of not doing some projects, you know, and they want to spend as much as they want, so they would rather resort to borrowing, thereby postponing the evil day. Because when you look some of those states now, people are complaining they are not fixing our roads. They are not. The state is limited in terms of its capacity to even deliver the dividends of democracy. But when previous administrations were borrowing and borrowing and borrowing, and people are telling them, don't do it. The other day I was reading that even the Debt Management Office has now advised the federal government to limit borrowing.
For the states?
Yes. You know, if some of us were saying, no, not just state, even federal government.
So that they won't borrow our future?
Yes. If some of us are saying, they will say, oh, but we can see what they did. What
once you can put infrastructure in place.
If there is greater efficiency in the way we run the finances of our country, we will block loopholes and we'll be able to free cash that we can use for some of these projects. If we also adopt the PPP approach, it will also help. If corporate concerns, big companies can help deliver some infrastructure on a build, operate, and transfer basis, you don't have to spend money. So there are ways by which you can bypass this blind borrowing of money and then mortgaging the future of our people. I mean, there are ways by which you can bypass it. I talked about Angola building a refinery a big refinery based on a build, operate, and transfer model. So people shouldn't give the impression that, oh, you cannot deliver infrastructure unless you resort to borrowing. I mean, of course, that is not a sensible thing to say. There are other ways by which you can bypass it.
Senator Ademola Adeleke is coming at a time that the country is facing financial challenges, the economy and everything is inheriting a state that is close to that strait.
Well, it's lucky that he's going to make some cash in the vault of the state. But I think it also comes down to the character of politics in Nigeria. That why did he lose the election? So it means that governance is not just about delivering consumables. It's also about politics. Probably if he had managed the politics very well of the state, maybe he will have been able to return for another second term. I remember we had almost a similar situation in 2003 when Baba Kande was defeated. And no doubt, he was one of the best governors.
He too, he didn't borrow.
He didn't borrow.
He was
He managed the
loggerhead
economy
with
very well.
state
He was so
teachers.
prudent, you know. But eventually, people will still lose the election even when they have deemed to have performed very well. So I think in winning election, apart from the economy, the politics is also very important. But
At least
unfortunately,
Baba Kande built that secretariat.
he
800
did so
million, I
many things,
remember.
roles, and he was so prudent. But eventually, they voted him out. And I believe after voting,
More or less that history repeated
repeated itself. So to win an election, the political aspect is very important, knowing how to manage the party so that you'll be able to stop dissenting opinions and bring the party together so that you can win subsequent election. I'm not very hopeful about the incoming governor, but maybe it's too early. Let's see how.
They're not very hopeful.
I'm not very hopeful, given, what I'm saying, and what we seem to have known about, him as a person. But maybe it's too early to rule out his performance. Let us give him maybe the next 2 months, 2 years.
He's already reversing some
Because
of the
the
legacies
first you have not even spent more than 2 weeks. You are reversing major policies. I don't think
legacies.
because those decisions.
Building speech.
Yes, it's already saying, look, we don't, and there's nothing like state of Osun. That is Osun State. This thing is an emotive thing. People went to court, yes. Indeed, people went to court, and they won the case in court that Osun should not be referred to as state of Osun. But Oyetola refused to reverse that decision in spite of them losing in court. Well, here is a new man, a new broom from a rival party. He has no business with you people. You are the ones fighting one another. He has come now and said, no, we don't want this. Then he's gone back to the moniker, what was it called? What Osun State?
Slogan.
The slogan of Osun State. He's gone back to what it used to be when Oyinlola was governor. That is a state of the living spring also. That's what it's gone back to. So when brothers quarrel, they leave crevices open for the enemy to move in.
That ego, as they've paid dearly for
Elephant-sized ego
they paid dearly for
of individuals who found it difficult to reconcile one another. Now, who has benefited from it?
They scattered
The dancing governor has benefited from it now. Now, they have not seen anything. When it comes to playing the opposition, those who have been victims, they are the ones who can tell the story. People think that playing opposition is easy. Dumb people who cannot reason deeply, they think playing the opposition is easy. Now the shoe is on the other foot. They will see that it's not easy to play opposition. And next time, when you have issues amongst yourself, cast your elephant-sized egos aside. Ensure that you achieve unanimity so that you are in a strong position to win an election. When you quarrel amongst yourself, what do you get? They are still quarreling among themselves in Adama and other places now. Oh, this person should not be the candidate. That is the way of some people in the APC. And for some of those people, if they don't leave the party, and the party is not ready to punish people who work against his goals, his ambitions, then of course what we saw in Osun, what we saw in Adamawa, what we saw in Bauchi,
and what we've just seen in Rivers.
What we've seen in Rivers. We saw it in Rivers.
In 2019, 2023 again.
Those things will continue to happen to the party because APC lacks the capacity to whip ego befuddled individuals in their party into line and get them to focus on the goal of the party.
Individuals that are bigger than the party.
See themselves are bigger than the party. They are like the Cristiano Ronaldos of the APC because Ronaldo, yes, is the most followed individual in the world on Instagram. So he already, even Man U does not have
the followership
on Instagram. So he already sees himself
so as bigger than the institution called
followed by more than 500 million people. He already sees himself as bigger than Manchester
close
United.
to $1 billion.
No bigger than Manchester United, and even saying that a coach who took a club from nowhere in the German league and turned the club to a Champions League playing team. A coach who coached Shaka 04, that Man U played against in the Champions League, he said he does not know him. He said Ratney was not a coach. Now you're saying that he does not respect Ten Hag. Oh, you don't respect Ten Hag. Okay, then leave our club. And he's left the club.
Just terminated.
Nothing, no penal fee paid to him, nothing. How to go because you instigated.
This thing statue was even removed.
Yes. No. See, people should not be bigger than the entities that they are part of. You can't be bigger. I can't be bigger than TVC.
Yes.
Even in my most drunken state, I can't imagine that I will be bigger than
the brand's TVC.
The brand. You cannot be bigger than the APC. You are a member of APC. You join the APC to further your political ambition. You can't be bigger than the party. And if you see yourself as bigger than the party, then the leadership of the party should stop being cowardly. They should wield the big stick, get such people out of the party. But if you don't do that, somebody did it in Ogun State, worked against his own party, that nothing happened. You know? Then we've seen it in Osun, barefaced, nothing happened. You will still keep such people in the party. You will not do anything about them.
They're ready to do another one in 2019.
Yes, and you want the party to continue to grow. Even in Sokoto, they did it. This is the hallmark. This is the idiosyncrasy of these individuals. But history always teaches us that, look, learn lessons. But human beings find it difficult to learn from the lessons of history.